In this lecture, we're going to look at the basics of MLA and how to format your paper according to the MLA style. Often students get very frustrated with their studies because in addition to the coursework that they have to do, the instructor will expect them to write their papers in a specific format. This format is referred to as a style. There are numerous styles, but MLA and APA are the most popular. APA is usually used for the science classes such as psychology, sociology, biology. And MLA, which stands for Modern Language Arts, is usually used for the humanities classes. And MLA style is the style that will be required for all of my classes, and it's the style that's used in all of our distance learning courses. MLA can get quite technical, but for the purposes of your papers at Indiana Bible College, I'm going to give you the basics, the quick and easy version. There are 7 key points that characterize MLA. Let's look at a sample. One is that MLA is always double-spaced. Everything in your entire paper is double-spaced except for the works cited page. To double-space everything, we want to first select our document. We could do that by using our mouse, but I feel like it's easier to use the keyboard shortcuts. And the keyboard shortcut for selecting everything is simply to click anywhere in your document, hold down the Control button at the bottom left of your keyboard, and press the A. And as you can see, that selects the entire document in one move. So I think that's a little bit faster. Then to double space, we could go up to the paragraph icon and choose line spacing and double space. But again, I feel like a shortcut is easier because all you have to do once you have a text selected is to hold down the Control button and then press the numeral 2 for double space. Of course, to single space would be Control 1. So we want everything double spaced. Notice also that everything is left justified. And we'd do that by selecting everything in our document, and then we could click the Align Text icon at the top. The keyboard shortcut for that is Control L. And if for some reason you wanted to justify right, the keyboard shortcut for that is Control R. To center is Control E. But in our case, we want to left justify, so it's Control L. We always want our title to be centered. So we'll highlight it and press Control E. Notice also that at the top left we have the student name, the instructor, the class name, and the date. Those are all left justified. Also, notice that we have 1-inch margins all the way around the paper. And you can do that by going to the page layout, selecting margins, then you have the option there of normal 1-inch margins, or of course you could go to the custom margins, but there's no need. Also notice that MLA uses endnotes. This is the information that tells the reader where you obtained your quotes or your information. In this case, there was a book that I used whose author's last name was Smith. And so inside these 2 parentheses, we had the author's last name and then the page number. You don't need to put PAGE in there or even P because the protocol is that the numeral stands for the page number. Notice also that the period goes at the end of the endnote. Students typically want to put a period at the end of the sentence and then another one at the end of the endnote, but it only gets one period. If for some reason there was a question mark at the end of the sentence, you would still put a period at the very end of the end note. Next, we want to look at the titles. Any publication you mention in your essay should have the title italicized or underlined. That includes publications, whether it's a book, newspaper, magazine, album, journal, encyclopedia. It should be underlined or italicized. I prefer italic because originally the underline signaled to make the book title or the publication title underlined, but now with modern computers we have the ability to italic ourselves. So italic seems like the right way to go, but either is okay for the purposes of your courses. Also, MLA requires that you have a page number. You can get to the page number by going to Insert, Page Number, or you could double click inside the header and it'll appear and it'll give you that option. And then simply just choose the style page number you want, which is typically at the top right. Notice that there is not a page number at the top of the first page. And if you can't figure out how to do that, that's completely all right. You won't be counted off for that. This is an example of the works cited page. Technically, the works cited page is actually single-spaced with an extra line space between each entry. Notice that all the entries are in alphabetical order. If an entry has more than one line, such as many of them in this example, then you would have a hanging indent on that second line. Works cited page entries can be very complicated, but for the most part, you just want to put the author's last name, first name, title of the book or publication, and then you want to also include the copyright date. So let's review. Always double space, use 1-inch margins, use endnotes or parenthetical citations, use a works cited page so that we'll know what the endnotes are referring to. Underline or italic any publications that are included in your paper. Number the pages, and always use present tense. Some students might ask, well, why even have a style? Why format your paper a certain way? Why not just let the student type it the best they can and turn it in and not be worried about this? Why is it even important? Well, it's important for several reasons. One, it's about protocol, it's about uniformity, and also using MLA style properly makes it easier for the reader to navigate and comprehend a text because you provided them familiar cues when you referred to the sources and your borrowed information. Even editors encourage everyone on their team to use the same format, so there's the same consistency and style within the given field. So that concludes our studies with MLA guidelines. I hope that's helpful for you, and I hope that breaks down a little bit of the confusion, because really it's pretty simple except for the works cited page. In this lecture, we're going to look at the basics of MLA and how to format your paper according to the MLA style. Often students get very frustrated with their studies because in addition to the coursework that they have to do, the instructor will expect them to write their papers in a specific format. This format is referred to as a style. There are numerous styles, but MLA and APA are the most popular. APA is usually used for the science classes, such as psychology, sociology, biology. And MLA, which stands for Modern Language Arts, is usually used for the humanities classes. And MLA style is the style that will be required for all of my classes, and it's the style that's used in all of our distance learning courses. MLA can get quite technical, but for the purposes of your papers